All right, so I'm happy that we are exploring this video together because I'm a parent. It is literally a week before being a parent for 7 years. Time flies so quickly. Abigail, our daughter, is going to be 7, and I'm like, I've learned through this journey. It actually feels like it went by pretty fast, but I'm learning. And throughout my journey, I've learned that I evolve. My wife evolves, our daughter evolves, and it's like we just figuring it out every day. I'll speak for myself. I'm figuring it out every day, learning what I'm doing wrong, learning what I've done great so I can repeat that, learning when I need to apologize, and I'm here to share that with you. So, we parent differently. I've said in a couple of my videos, these are just things from my experience, some tips I can share with you. I am no way saying that these are what you should follow. There's no book to parenting, and I forgot who told me this when I first became a parent, but they're telling the truth. There's no book to parenting. You can take some tips, but you are always going to do it your own way. Just like cooking. You can look at the recipe book, but you may add a spin because you don't have that specific seasoning that they shared. So that means it is your recipe. So as I go throughout these tips, I really want you to acknowledge that you are doing the best that you can. All right? So the first one is listening more than you speak. No matter what age your child is, they are going to want to be heard. They want you to listen to them, even down from when they're an infant. They want to cry, and that's perfectly, obviously normal. Let them cry, but just make sure you console them in a way that you need to. As almost 7-year-old, my daughter, she literally says, "Mom, can I please just listen? I'm sorry, Mom, can you please just listen?" And I have to rewind it back, and I say, "Okay, tell me what it is." And although, that exact moment, I want to be able to tell her, okay, how we could fix a problem, she just wants to share her side. So I want her to understand that I am listening, and I'll say, okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Or how did it make you feel when this took place? Or what do you think you could do differently next time? Or what exactly were you thinking in that moment? I'm pretty most likely saying this, like if there was a time where we had to talk about something that she did where it pretty much didn't have the best outcome. Like for her bringing her rhinestone water bottles to school and handing out the rhinestones to the children. Now, it is funny, but obviously I got a message from her teacher saying, "Miss Davis, Abigail should not be bringing a rhinestone. Abigail should not bring toys to school." Now, it's not a toy, but it looked like it. It was a water bottle that she decorated with a bunch of rhinestones, and they were peeling off, and she gave them to other children. Great. Okay. So when she came home, I said, "Abigail, why exactly did you peel off the rhinestones off your water bottle?" And a side note, when she was making this water bottle, it was time alone. She was being very creative, and she asked my wife if she could bring it to school. And Sam said yes. I didn't want to interlude, but I was like, okay, it's just a water bottle. And what happened? The teacher called me. No, not called me, but sent me a message via Class Dojo, the app that the school uses to communicate with the parents. So I said, "Abigail, why exactly did you think that was a good idea to give the rhinestones out to the other children?" "Well, Mom, I just wanted to share." "Okay, that's really nice of you for sharing, but do you think it was a good idea to do it in school?" "No, but that's when I see my friends and I didn't want them to be sad." I'm just walking her through the process of me understanding because I want to understand her on why she did this. And she just, told me her feelings. So at the end of the conversation, I said, "Abigail, I know you love your rhinestone bottle. I know you love your water bottle. I know you like sharing, but, it is one of the school rules not to bring any toys to school." And this has come up a couple of times. "Well, other children bring their toys to school." I said, "I understand that, but, that is one of the rules. So that means they're not following one of the rules. Do you think we should follow rules?" And she said, "Yes." Okay, so throughout this process, I didn't yell at her. I didn't say she did anything wrong. I just asked her, "Well, why did you bring your water bottle to school, and do you think that was a good idea?" So the whole point was listening to her. I wanted her to talk to me instead of shutting her down, telling her, "You were wrong. You should have not brought that to school. Why would you do such a silly thing?" No. That's what I'm not here for. Every day, I look to build a relationship with our daughter. So I just talk to her. So the ultimate goal is to listen more than I speak. And I'm happy that I understood in her wonderful brain why she wanted to bring the water bottle to school and why she wanted to share. Because she wanted to share with her friends. All right. And the next tip is apologizing when you mess up. This is something that I'm thankful that I do because I acknowledge that Abigail does the same thing. So I used to, like my wife told me, she said, you're not as patient as you think you are in the morning with Abigail. You start off a little nice, but then when she's not moving at the speed you think she should move at, You get a little upset and it comes out through your words. She didn't say it in that. In that, she didn't say it as nicely as that. She was like, "What is wrong with you? When Abigail is not moving fast enough, you start yelling." Okay, understood. Understood. So that means I had to acknowledge when I was wrong. So I've told Abigail, I'm sorry that I was yelling. I just saw that the time that you were moving, I saw the time on the clock and I knew that we had to get out the house. So thankfully, I believe I have gotten much better. I am much more patient. That means I wake her up literally an hour before she gets picked up. We do have a lovely friend who picks her up from school. So she gets picked up about 7:30, let's say between 7:20 and 7:30. She's up around between 6:30 and 6:40. And it takes her like 20 minutes to get everything done, but go through her process. She sits on the toilet. We already know, even adults, we do the same thing. Takes a moment to brush her teeth. She has to drag her feet. Perfectly normal. This is normal. I do the same thing. So even with me, I know that I have to get up an hour before I need to be prepared for something. Fine. That's what it is. Now, I really want to emphasize apologizing when you do something wrong is going to help your child acknowledge that they can apologize on their own without you telling them to say sorry when they've done something wrong as well. It's even gotten to the point where Abigail, she's in school. We had parent-teacher conference last week. She's in school and her teacher told us, she said, she's such a sweet girl. The children in her art class, as a class, they were told that they were talking very loudly, and that means they didn't have enough time at I don't know, recess. I forgot the exact thing, but the whole point, I was told that Abigail went to the art teacher and said, "I'm sorry that we were so loud. We're going to try to work on that." And the teacher said, "Abigail, I'm a teacher. I'm used to those things." But the whole point that Abigail went to her teacher and said, "I'm sorry we were so loud." Now, she did take accountability for the whole entire class. I don't know if she was yelling. I don't know if she was loud in school or talking too much. I don't know the exact situation. But she went to the teacher to tell them that she's sorry. So I don't know. I am pretty proud that she apologizes when she knows something was done wrong. Now, these are children. This is what they're going to do. But she knew that they weren't following the expectations of the class throughout the school day. So that also brings me, when she does something wrong in school, she actually, a good friend of hers, like we've gone to birthday parties together, a good friend of hers, and after school, she hit the girl because the girl was yelling in her ear. And Abigail asked her a couple of times, "Can you please stop?" So she shoved her. I was really surprised when this happened. And I said, "Abigail, do you think that was a good idea?" Going back to listening more than I speak. Okay, I said, "Abigail, do you think that was a good idea?" And she said, "No." I said, "Did you apologize?" And I also asked the owner of the daycare center, I said, "Did Abigail apologize?" She said yes. She knew that she had to apologize. She did something wrong and she shouldn't have done that. I was very shocked. This is the first time that this has happened. I'm like, Abby, this is not something that you can do to people. Why? Okay, so I listened to her. I understood why she was upset, and then boom. But guess what? I can share when I was in the car. This happened like a month or two ago. I can share when we were in the car with another one of her friends. She was doing the same thing. She was yelling and laughing, and her other friend just wanted some quiet time. And I said, "Abigail, do you remember when your other friend said that you wanted quiet time and they didn't give it to you? How did that make you feel?" So just reverting that process back so she can understand, okay? And my last and final tip is teaching emotional regulation. This is something that is very important to me because a lot of children, millennials specifically, when millennials grew up, I'm a millennial, when we grew up, it was stop crying before I give you something to cry about. And that is something I do not want to see my child experience, okay? So when she cries, I give her a moment. She can talk. She can cry. She can go through the whole moment. I said, "Abigail, you can cry. Just let me know when you're ready to talk." "I'm not ready to talk." She can go through those moments. I want her to experience those moments. And when she's calming down a little bit, I say, "Abigail, do you want to take some deep breaths with me?" Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. And I'm just going to go through that process with her. Sometimes it's yes. And I'm like, okay, let's just, make ourselves feel better. Let's bring some more joy. I probably don't use joy. Let's just make ourselves feel better. And she takes those deep breaths. And I asked her, "How does that make you feel?" And majority of the time when she does take those deep breaths, it works out. Now, this will not apply to every child. Remember, this is from my own experience, but I want my child to understand crying is okay. Some people may not agree with that, but in my household, crying is okay. Because later on in life, when you cry, you're going to say, some people, that I've seen, experienced, as well as myself, when we've cried in public settings, in the workplace, with friends, in a, I don't know, just an area where we think it's not okay to cry. We are ashamed. We apologize. We're covering our eyes. I'm sorry, I'm crying. I'm sorry. What are you saying sorry for? Crying is an emotion being expressed, just like you're laughing when something is funny, okay? So if you need to cry, that's all right. Again, this is in my household, it may not be in other households, but crying is okay. Now, when we need to get through the process and understand that crying is okay, let's figure out how we can regulate our emotions. Let's bring ourselves back to the moment where we want to experience some more happiness and joy. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's recognize why we cried. Let's go through those emotions. So those are my tips. These are totally my tips. Again, these are from my experience. The first one is, I'm going back to my notes, okay? Listen more than you speak. Giving your child the opportunity to talk to you and then talk, okay? Don't talk over them. Don't just say that they're wrong and you have the last word. No, that's not something that you can do. Apologize when you make a mistake or when you mess up, because then your child is going to acknowledge when they made a mistake and they messed up, and they'll bring you joy, because guess what? They'll know that it's okay to say sorry. All right, and the last one is teaching emotional regulation. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. But then also, how can you bring back yourself to feeling better when you need to? All right. So those are just the top 3 tips that I'm happy to share with you all. I hope you got through this. If you did, make sure you give me a like and subscribe. I'm so excited that I'm growing this community. I just had a major surgery. I'm actually still healing right now. I'm 2 weeks post-surgery, but my goal is to continue to deliver to you all, because you all appreciate me as much as I appreciate you. All right. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Peace.